Good morning and welcome. I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host to fight CPS and to hang on to your children or to get your children back. I'm a loving father, husband of 32 years. I have 6 children, and I too was caught up in the child protection system. Um, I got to put my microphone on. There, that should be better. You should be able to hear me now. Now, you've reached a podcast that's broadcasted from Southern California with people that come in and talk about their child protection system case, and they talk about how they get their children back or how to fight CPS. I have a lot of information. I have 15 years of fighting CPS, and I have a couple rules that should help you on your case. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm well familiar with CPS. It's an agency that you got to be careful about because they are um, very corrupt, not transparent, revengeful. They don't like parents. They don't like family unification. And every time they come to get your children are always in extreme danger. They take the children automatically. I don't know if they know what extreme danger is. But I'd like to go over a couple ways of how you interact with this podcast. One, you could be a listener. You don't have to say anything. Just come in. If you want to do some emojis, that's great. But I think it's really nice that you've joined us, and maybe something I say or something someone else says will help you. I'm a caring, loving father, and I care about you people that are going through such a horrible, horrible time with their child protective service. I too have gone through a horrible time. As I say, I'm a family man with 6 children. 3 are older and 3 are younger, and the younger ones were the ones that were trafficked by CPS. Um, it's a horrible experience when you suddenly realize that your children are gone and people that you're supposed to trust are corrupt. I'm telling you the truth. I'll give you some examples of typical CPS workers. Um, the sun should get better lighting because as it sets, it's rising in the east and sets in the west. And somehow I got the sun really bad this morning here, and I'm trying to adjust myself so that uh, you can see me comfortably and so forth. I'll try to move the computer around and see if that's better. I'm not quite yet for the phone number. I maybe take that down. You can see me a little bit better. Um, I'll put up here. I'm not ready to take phone calls yet because I'm still talking about how they interact with the podcast. I want to say good morning, Amy Allen. And Amy Allen says, my rights were terminated and I appealed. How long does it take to get to the Supreme Court hearing? I got the briefing, but my lawyer hasn't talked to me. We're talked to me where going caused them to give me a IMP, wherever that is. Further, Amy says my daughter was attacked while I left her with the person while I was gone to they at first didn't charge me, then they charged me with child neglect. I had to go to prison and I'm on parole. Wow, that's drastic to go from one extreme to another extreme. I'd like to know more, Ami. When we do text and comments, in fact, that's the second way. And let me go ahead. I was trying to give how they interact with the podcast, and I want to, when you do comments, um, It's very important that your comments deal with CPS questions, and please show your name, your city, state, or country, and be complete with your CPS case. Yes, we do have countries that comment in here. And recently I had South Africa join other countries in Africa that have talked to me, Mozambique, Rwanda, and Liberia. And for some of you who may not know where these countries are, Liberia is northwest Africa on the coast. Rwanda is in Central East Africa above South Africa. And Mozambique is above South Africa across from Madagascar along the coast there, down from Somalia. I've also had countries from as far away as um, Bangladesh, and next door India, and then I jumped to Europe and have had United Kingdom, England, Scotland, Wales, Denmark, and Sweden have texted messages. And also I go to the North America and I've had Canada on several incidents, texts and comments, East Canada, West Canada, and then of course had all the 50 states. I've talked to them all. I've talked to over about 500 people or more. Um, I even have talked to Washington D.C. It was a bad case a couple days ago. I've talked to Australia and Mexico, and down in South America, Ghana, which is along the coast east of Venezuela, north of Brazil. They have a coastal town called Georgetown. So it's been interesting having views from other countries about their CPS problems and questions and whatnot. So all you have to do is state your name, your city, state, or country, and be complete with your case. It's easier for me if you start out from the beginning. First, start with the makeup of your family. Are you a couple? Are you husband, wife? Are you boyfriend, girlfriend? Are you a partnership? Are you lovers? Do you have multiple children by different spouses or different partners? I mean, there's many dads, many moms. And then how many children? Three boys, three girls, etc. Young ones or teenage ones. Anyway, a composition of family will help, especially if the father's still involved, the mother's still involved, or you're a single parent or what. Then I'd like to know what the allegations were. Um, Neglect or abuse are the two major headlines, but they're further subdivided into what the abuse was or what the neglect was. And then after that, I'd like to know how they got your children. Did they come to your home and you gave them your children? Did they take your children? Did they ask you to come down to the office? So how did they arrange to get your children? Were they in imminent danger when they took your children and so forth? And lastly, where you at on your case? Where you at on your case? Now we've had the first person text in Amy Allen. I have no idea where she's from. She was charged in child neglect and she had to go to prison. Now, it sounds like from her story, she left the child with somebody because something came up. And I don't know the details, but I'd like to help you, Amy Allen. I'd like to help you, Amy Allen. Welcome, Charlene Palacios. Um, my name is Charlene Hernandez. I have a case in San Bernardino, that's California. I told you back 3 years again when my case started. I hired Vincent Davis, never once seen him. And he sent an old lady who knew Vince, sent a lady who knew nothing about my case. She had no paperwork. The judge even got on to her and told her she should not, that she should act professional. So of course I got upset and I told them I didn't need him anymore. But I don't know what else to do. I've done everything they've told me to do and I still don't have my kids back. Is there any way we can talk in private? I don't do private consultations. Again, I'm going to take your name and text Vincent Davis and let me write your name down right now. Um, I don't like hearing that because he is a professional attorney, and Mr. Davis does make phone calls back. Um, Let me see. Today's the 23rd, and It's Char Shrleneapalacous, and you hired Vincent Davis, but never saw him. When you hired him, did you pay him a retention? Um, all right, I've copied your name down. It's a San Bernardino case, so maybe he'll go back to me. Mm. Okay, Charlotte. Oh, I got the wrong name as usual. Wrote down the wrong name. It's hard sometimes. Uh, okay. Charlene Hernandez. Hernandez. Okay. Hpiacios. Okay, I got the information down, and I will. You paid him $8,000. Wow. Hmm. I can't believe that. Wow. You're very welcome, Charlene, and I'm so sorry about your case. So anyway, um, we had two people come in the room so far. Amy Allen, who I don't know where she's from, and I need to know some more details. She has a horrible case where she had to go to prison, and now she's out on parole. And apparently, she wants some help. Um, so anyway, I've talked about how to do comments. Another way to participate in this room is to uh, schedule as our guest. I have a show producer. Her name is Grace, and she works behind the scenes, and she's really good. And try to adjust this so you can see me a little bit better. And um, all you have to do is pick one of my 14 shows. I'm on 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. I'm on in the morning at 10 o'clock, except Sunday I'm on at 8. I'm on the evening at 7 o'clock, and that is p.m. And both times are Pacific Standard Time. So I'm on the west coast of California, in Southern California. So just pick one of the show times, morning or evening, Monday through Sunday. Tell her that, and she'll get you on the show. She'll give you the link. I broadcast on StreamYard application. I'm on YouTube broadcasting, and she'll tell you how to get on, and then what to do and not to do, like no smoking or eating on the show. Um, so that's a third way. I said by listening, by texting comments, and by being a guest. The fourth way is the phone, the call in. And I'll leave that up. And the call in number is 626 698 0990. That's my office number. You can call into it. I do answer the phone. I answer the phone between my show time. Other times I'm not on. I can't answer the phone. If you happen to call other times, I will send you a message about my show and how to get on there. Um, Now I'm checking to make sure I have several people that come on my show. So, okay. I just paged Natalie. She's in West Hollywood, California, or Los Angeles. And okay. Um, and then I have Danielle in Georgia. Um, Faye is from Richmond, Kentucky. Okay, missed calls. Okay, missed calls. Okay. Okay. It seems like my phone's working and I've notified some people to join me in the room. So, um, oh, I did have my phone number up there, but it disappeared. I wonder why it did that. I'll try to put it on again. Screen, I guess this application is a little sensitive and I gotta be careful with my wrists or fingers near the touchpad that I'm using on my laptop. Now, back to the people in the room. Um, uh, Charlena, if you, um, I don't do private consultations, but I will talk to you on the showtime if you want to call in. Furthermore, I'm surprised that Vincent, who you hired a retainer of $8,000, did not show up, and the person that did show up didn't have any paperwork. That's not like him. So I'm really sorry that happened to you. And I will text Mr. Davis and pass the word on that you hired him for 8,000. He didn't show you up for your San Bernardino case. Um, the child protection system is a branch of social services. It's an agency that developed in the 1900s. You know, we've been protecting our children since the 1600s, since colonial times. I've found a history, and what the child protection system has done is divided into three parts. From the 1900s to 1875, from 1875 to 1962, and 1962 to the present. In the beginning, it was societies and the wealthy people that were helping to save our children. And there was cases of abuse. There's a case in 1690 in Colonial Virginia about a shopkeeper abusing a boy that worked for him. And then in 1874, there was a girl that was raped and was abused. And I know there's other cases and so forth, but it's a long history. But present day, the agency, the child protection system, is supposed to protect your children from neglect and abuse. And if they end up breaking your family up, they're supposed to do family reunification. It's important that we do family reunification because the best parents are the biological parents. You can always quote me on that because that should be where we all go. Now, I look back in my room and there was a person that came in early on, Ami Allen, and I'd like to know more about your case. What were the allegations, and what city and state are you from? And I'm so sorry that happened to you. That's wrong. It says you're a child neglect, but I don't know. I guess for not watching the child, but um, so you went to a game. You came back. Your daughter was attacked. Was he attacked by the babysitter? Did somebody? Did you? The person taking care of the child? Who was that? And so forth. And what happened to your daughter there? Now, if your rights are terminated, you only have 60 or 80 days, depending on the state you're in. It's 60 for Utah. It's 80 for California. So it's very important you appeal that. And what kind of attorney did you hire, Ami? Was that a court-appointed attorney or a paid professional attorney that you hired? And so I need some more answers or they help you out, Ami Allen. But I'm so glad you called in. I know it's hard to talk. Same thing with you, Charlene. I know it's hard to talk, but if you want to talk anymore, I'll try to help you. Um, Again, my phone number is up if you want to call. Now, a typical social worker seems to be always in the interests of trafficking your child to foster care and alienating your child from parents. And that's wrong. You're going to find that dealing with the child protection system is like you're Allison in Wonderland. You've fallen in the rabbit hole, and you're going through a series of rooms and doors that go nowhere. And it's so confusing where you're at. I, I feel, I feel really hurt for you because what you're going through is a terrible experience. They'll build your hopes up and then drop you. They're they're nothing more than an agency that wants to make money. It's an $80 billion business. And in my case, they were collecting $20,000 per my children. So I had three of them. That was $60,000. And just think, if you had 100 parents with three children and you collect all the money, that's $6 million a month from 100 families. So it's 80 billion around the United States total. And these social workers work for bonuses and incentives. They're crooked. They lie. And so the judges in the dependency court, so the court appointed attorneys, and so the social workers attorneys, the child attorneys. I go on and on and on. In the courtroom, that's a lot of money. When you have children attorneys, parent attorneys, social worker attorneys, you know, you have all this, these people being paid, and the same thing soaking with the judge. Um, it goes to court to get settled, but if you don't have a judge, an attorney representing you, then you'd be eaten up alive. And the court attorneys, I'm not saying you can't use them, but I don't recommend it. Um, they have very little skills. They're not going to fight for your kids. There's no incentive for them. Also, when you have a court appointed attorney, keep in mind you cannot talk before the judge or be in the courtroom. You're out in the hallway. This is true in California. In other states, it may be different. But um, that's a real heavy part there. Because the court appointed attorneys are not fighters. And it certainly won't help you get your kids back. They're going to look for the easiest way out. Now, in my case, it was pretty sad. The social worker was. Um, Mine started with the loss of my job in 2010 through no fault of my own. I had a lot of contract work with the state of California, but they needed money and they're going bankrupt. So they put my contracts on hold illegally, wrote me IOUs for the contracts, then used my money to keep the state afloat. And I could have sued, but my owner said he didn't want to, and so what they did was illegally wrong. But when that happened, I started getting these calls from social workers saying I wasn't. They're accusing me and my wife not taking care of our children. I didn't realize that they're using lay people. And they were my in-laws. My in-laws who did not like their daughter and never went to our wedding, never supported us anything. They were trying to take advantage of the situation. And it's sad because there's all kinds of incentives people are given for adoption and for having taken children and so forth. So you have to be careful out there. You have to be careful out there. So my social worker proceeded to do very little in reunification or supporting me. And um, for 5 years, they were accused me and they couldn't prove anything. And I think what they did is they retaliated. I didn't. I really don't think so, but now maybe I do. It's very frustrating, I guess, for them when they want somebody. You see, social workers have a bad habit of taking advantage of people who are down, meaning low income, losing a job, unemployed. Um, you know, they take advantage of those people because they know those people can afford attorneys and they can't defend themselves, and they take advantage because they know that's a fast buck they can make. The only trouble is your children are hurt by it. They're brought into a system that's very corrupt. My children were abused in foster care. They certainly weren't protection. That's all. And they're messed up today because of it. I mean, messed up. I think. I sadly find myself at times fighting the demons of child protection services. Well, my social worker was only interested in her Gucci purse, her BMW car, her makeup, her accessories, her clothing, and so forth. That's all she was interested in, the bonuses and incentives she was given to keep my kids in CPS's hand, the Child Protection Services hands. And I tried the son the first year. I fought the director of CPS. That was in Orange County, and that was a waste of time. He lived in a building that looked just like the Taj Mahal or the Emerald City of the Wizard of Oz. And it was strictly a money thing to him. There was no question that it was a money thing. It went one year, went out the other year. He said he'd do something, but he never did. And it wasn't until I hired an attorney. That's one of my rules: is that you need to get yourself a dependency lawyer. And that attorney was Mr. Davis. And I'd like to tell you about rule number one. You need a professional family juvenile dependency lawyer, someone that has worked with juveniles, that has worked in family, worked in dependency court. So that's what you do need there. I feel sorry for all of you that are taking advantage of that because I was. I was. There's no question. It still hurts me today. Because what that social worker went on to do, um, my case, uh, my wife's sister was trying to adopt our girl, a 12-year-old child. And they convinced her she was at the age that she could be emancipated. And my social worker was on the stand, and there was her sister trying to adopt our daughter. And the question was asked by my attorney: was there any domestic violence between uh, my wife's sister and her husband? And of course, the social worker said, no, they're good parents, be good parents in there. Well, my attorney, Vincent W. Davis, brought out the paperwork from all the various police departments with a lot of evidence of heavy domestic violence. So that made her look bad in court. She had mud on her face. And on top of that, she retaliated against her parents by telling her daughter, you're going to emancipate from your family. That means you're going to get divorced from your mother and father and your brothers and all the other siblings and get divorced from all the family members, the aunts, the uncles, the grandparents, and so forth. It was really a very devastating experience for me. It still hurts today. They manipulated and used my daughter. It was so sad. And she just turned 22. I haven't seen her since she was 12. And she had her birthday. My sons went out with her, which is nice because I encourage my sons to keep in touch with her. She still has not talked to her parents. Of course, when you divorce your parents and sue your birth certificate, mom and dad don't exist. And that's the horrible feeling to realize there's a human being that we made out of love that doesn't think we exist. And this social worker was so bad. So that's one example. Let me tell you about another social worker. This social worker, there's 8 of them. They're all women, all white women that worked in Prescott, Arizona, in the Department of Children's Services, DCS. And what they did is they decided to buy pink T-shirts, and on the stencil on the front was the words "professional child kidnappers." Now, professional child kidnappers, I mean, right there tells you what kind of individuals they are. So, with that being said, these Prescott social workers parade around on public in Costco and Walmart and Target, and really, it upset the parents. It was really bad. It really was bad. Um, that was heavy. Oh God, I still miss my daughter so much. It is hard. It is hard. It's hard. It's hard. Hard. So one thing is, you need to get this attorney. Um, Hi Faye, welcome. I'm so glad to see you here. We've had a couple people in the room. We've had San Bernardino named Charlena, and she had a case. She hired Mr. Davis, gave him a retainer of 8,000. He never showed up. A girl showed up that didn't know about the case, so I'm texting that to Mr. Davis. Amy Allen is a sad one. She went to a game, put her child with somebody safe, and then her child got abused. She came back. She was charged with neglect, and she ended up in prison. Now she's out on parole. I know there's more details to these things, but those are two people we've had in the room so far, Faye. And right now I'm talking about my rules, and I'm just talking about an attorney. And Mr. Davis, I want to thank you for this podcast, for all the people out there, and for the hard work you do. Um, if you want to, he encourages to talk to all the people in the room, so please call him at 888-888-6582, and he'll do a consultation for 60 minutes. Excuse me, for 30 minutes for $60. That's 30 minutes for $60. He'll talk to you. So please call in and hire him. Um, but he will do that. So he wants me to really encourage him to you guys. He's a great attorney. I mean, he has 35 years experience. He's a trial attorney. He has fought CPS. In fact, he's won cases against CPS, civil cases, millions of dollars, both federal and state courts. So he's a good attorney. He's a trial attorney, and he's well value the 30 minutes that you pay him for $60 to talk to him, because he'll give you all the strategies you want. If you like him, you can retain him and hire him. So you got to keep that in mind there. But without an attorney, you'd be lost. I tried to fight without an attorney. Didn't work pro se. Didn't work with a lawyer. So I recommend this particular company to you, and you can uh, hire him by paying his retainer. Okay. Wow, I see Christina. She's here. Um, Welcome, Christina. I did get my email working. Good morning. I want to apologize on you and your audience on the day I didn't. I was referencing two. It wasn't meant for you to read. I don't want to say much about it right now. Just know I feel bad that happened, and I'm very sorry. Um, okay, Christina, I had it. I got my email fixed. By the way, my email is Bob P at VincentWDavis.com. That's Bob P at VincentWDavis.com. So you tell me what you want, Christina. I'm glad to see you in here. Um, Aracy Kelly, she's from California. I hired the Wade Law Group, and it was a joke. I paid 9,000. Wow, at Stanley Moot Courthouse in Los Angeles, California. You paid 1,000 more than the person that hired Vincent Davis. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. Racy Kelly. She's in California. It looks like she's from the Los Angeles area, and she went to the Stanley Moot Courthouse there. And I don't know about your case, but I'd love to help you out, Aracy Kelly. Faye, um, The Kentucky Ombudsman Office is reviewing my complaint and case file and Office Inspector General Division of Audits and Investigations in Kentucky needs legitimate complaints with proof of your complaints sent to them, both offices. I'm glad to hear about that, Faye. I listened to your governor today. He's running for vice president with Kamala Harris, but he talks about how horrible his state is, but he didn't mention anything how horrible the police or how horrible the CPS case, the child protection system is. He talks about all these bad actions, but they're brought on by his corruptness. So I don't know how good of a governor he is, but he's all over the news lately, and he mentions nothing about investigating the police, the corruptness in the police, or the corruptness in the child protection services. Faye further says, "You put your complaints into the Kentucky Ombudsman Office and Office Inspector General on audits and investigations." That's good to know. Of course, not because he's over it. Well, Faye, that governor really shocked me. I can now understand why Kentucky's so bad. They got a governor who's so lost he doesn't know where his head's at. R.C. Kelly um, is talking more here. R.C. Kelly is the lady from Los Angeles, California. Bob, no one is talking about our children being abused under their nose. I know we all. I mean, there are groups. Sacramento a year ago had a big rally where people were talking about how the child protection services in California is awful. See, the child protection system in California is the Child Protection Services DCS. So um, I am so sorry to hear about that, Kelly. Now, as I was talking about rule number one, if you get an attorney, I did. That's why I got my two boys back, and I should have got my attorney sooner because I probably would have got my daughter back too. So I strongly recommend you follow rule number one. Now, rule number two is organizing your paperwork, and that's so important. I didn't organize it. I had it on post-it notes. I had it on envelopes. I had it on scratch paper, all different sizes. You need a standard size, 8.5 by 11. And if it isn't, then you can tape whatever notes you have to that piece of paper and put it there. But you need to have a subject matter and the way to divide your system up. You need to have it organized with subject tabs. Arceli Kelly says, "My granddaughter, Ruby, father placed my daughter, Exila, in a room to be raped by multiple men." Oh, God, I hear that. I'm very naive, you guys. I just can't believe that men are so corrupt. They love to rape. I mean, I see it all the time in wars. I was reading up about Rwanda in Africa and how, 500 to a million people were brutally killed in Rwanda, East Africa in the 90s. It wasn't a long time ago, it was in the 90s. And on top of that, 400 women were raped. And it's just mind boggling that goes on. And then I had a lady here from from Washington D.C. that was raped twice. Once at her new home in a housing development by gang members, and then another time while in police custody, and her child was molested, and now she's lost her child, and in police custody. It was terrible. I cannot believe that people are so abusive out there, and I'm sorry to hear that, Arcacia Kelly. Yeah, I know the system is broken. How do we fix it? That's one of the biggest questions that people have asked me here. Not one person can fix it. There's no question about that. All we can do is keep appealing, keep writing letters to our congressmen, our congresswomen, our senators, our representatives, our governors, our mayors, our president, our vice president, so forth. And you just have to hit them up with a barrage of letters If you live in Washington, D.C., then visit the White House, visit Congress, go to the steps, talk to congressmen. It's a lot can be done with that kind of thing there. So um, it is a fact out there. Now, my case got worse and worse. It's like when I had my daughter eliminated from her parents, it was a sad. It's very, very sad. It still hurts me today. Anyway, I guess that's part of life. I guess you work so hard to take care of your children, and then people take advantage of you because of your hard times. Even right now, I'm struggling right now to repair my car. My transmission went out, and that's a big ticket item. That's $3,000 to $4,000 for a rebuilt one, and it's running, but I can't get the engine codes out. That means I can't complete my smog. That means I don't have a sticker. So I get these ridiculous tickets of $84 and $54 and 103, 300. One of the parking tickets, because the third time violation was 300. They have just gone crazy. I live in a very corrupt, their way of doing things. There's supposed to be a three appeal process. One is a written appeal. If you don't like that one, you're entitled to appeal in person. And if that doesn't work out, you tell for the judge. And the way that you go online, you have to do everything online. You have to deal with the citation department that doesn't care about you. There's no review. They screwed up and they sent me a payment plan I didn't ask for. Now they want me to pay on 4 parking tickets per month. And it's ridiculous what they want you to do. It's money you don't have. I mean, I have a little job that I'm working to help some of them at my retirement, but it's really hard out there. It really is hard. I know you guys are faced with the same fact. I worry about food for my family because I still have a young family. I have my family is four at home right now, and so I try to take care of them and so forth. But anyway, there's good people in this room. I know Faye has been inspirational to me, and she's a remarkable woman that's gone through so much. She's been in foster care 5 times growing up, and then because she was foster care, they went and took her daughter away, and then they're giving her a hard time about her son. The police are so corrupt there. They got a woman right now arrested for sexual abuse because she filed a grievance against the police department. It's so complicated, so confusing in Kentucky. And then I see that governor talk about how great he is and how he's solving this problem, that problem. He's got a broken state. Kentucky is a broken state. California is too. And that's our president candidate for the Democrats. That Kamala Harris, she used to be the state prosecutor, and she was so bad. And then people are so rude to other people. It just amazes me how people are rude and it's wrong. CPS, I told you about the pink ladies, how they pray out. Those pink ladies, by the way, were terminated as well as the director, but that still didn't do the damage it did. Then there was a third incident. I told you about my incident with my daughter. The pink ladies was the third one in Chicago, Illinois. A social worker decided to run an ad from 1848. The ad said black children for sale. Now, what makes it more strange is this woman is a black person. Why would she put an ad called Black Children for Sale from 1848? What is she going to gain from doing that in this present day? So that was before the Civil War, but here it is. That's the kind of MO a social worker is. They don't care about your children, they're professional kidnappers, and they want to do child trafficking, which is illegal, and alienation, which is illegal. So it's very corrupt out there. So you have to heads up. Now, I told you about hiring a lawyer as the first one. And then two is your paperwork. Well, the third one is to not talk to social workers. That is hard for people to do, but I did, and it was wrong because they'll use what you say against you. You don't have to talk to a social worker or even the police. If they come to your home, you don't have to answer the door, let them in. They have to have a court warrant, a legal document from the court signed by the judge. And that goes for the police too. Nobody can take your child out of your home. That's your castle. And it's really sad that people have come to this. It really is bad. It's so bad. And I feel really, really sad. I'm sitting here in the hot sun, and um, part of the reason why I'm outdoors and sitting over here is my car, because it doesn't have current plates, can't park in the city. So they'll tow it if I leave it there. So I spend my day from 8 in the morning to 5 o'clock at night at private shopping centers and stuff. So I've commandeered this one that has a Wi-Fi connection. But I'm on here because I care about you. I want to help you. So please ask me questions or call in at 626-698-0990. Now I'm talking about rule number 3, and that's where you have to say no. And if you want to get away from them, just say, hey, time out. I need to speak to my attorney. That's a good excuse to end your conversation with them. Time out. I need to go speak to my attorney about this matter. You have the right to do that. You have the right to terminate any talk you have with them. And it seems like everybody that talks to them gets further in trouble. So, best thing to do is don't answer the door, hide somewhere in the house, and then don't talk to them outside. Don't talk to them if you see them. It's yes, no answers is all you should say. And again, um, it's really, 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 really hard. I feel so, so bad. Um, Kelly says, Bob, I have done everything. Even I filed complaints against the judge in Monterey Court, Margaret Brown, and nothing, nothing. When you file complaints to the judge, was that at the state level? That's got to be done at the state level for the judicial branch. And again, like anybody else that files things or sends letters, you have to do follow up. Follow up, people forget to do follow up. You send something back, you haven't heard from them, you have to do a follow up. You have to do a follow up. Um, we have about 8 minutes left of the show, and I want to thank everybody for the emojis. It really is nice to have people listen and send me things in here because you are important people. You are people that want to have a family, that love your children, and I respect you all. And I'm so sorry that we have a system that's broken. The child protection system is broken throughout all 50 states. I've talked to the Rosebud Reservation in South Dakota. I've said I've talked to Washington, D.C., I've talked to Alabama and Texas and Kentucky and Florida and Mississippi, Rhode Island and Massachusetts, New Hampshire and Maine, Idaho, even a guy up in Alaska that lost his wife. He's trying to get his children back, so he pitched a tent to stay close to his children. People love their families, and they need to have the families back. That's one thing that social workers need to learn. Now, I've told you about my social worker and how she stole my daughter. I've told you about the pink ladies. I've told you about the black lady that had the ad for black children for sale. Well, here's another social worker. And this just recently happened. This social worker went out to investigate a case, and he interviewed a 13-year-old girl at her school. Didn't tell the parents. School didn't notify the parents. And he asked that he could be alone with her. So he's in a room alone with her and asked her to disrobe so he could take pictures. Well, the guy's a pedophile, and CPS did fire him. But you don't go asking girls at 13 to take their clothes off. That's wrong. That's not appropriate. That's not appropriate. So he was fired. So I'm telling you out there, you've got to be careful and listen to my rules. Now, I've told you about not talking to the social worker. Don't let them take your child. They're not in imminent danger. My children were at school when they took them. They weren't in imminent danger. They placed my children in imminent danger. They placed them in a concrete block house next to the dependency court in Orange. And the prison was behind there. And the play yard in the prison was the same as the prisoners. So there was no protection for children. Plus, they had beehives. They're getting stung by bees. The place was dirty and overcrowded. That's where they placed my children in a group. Not a, it's a shelter, but it was really bad. So I'm telling you, uh, it's really bad. They are corrupt, especially in California. So I'm telling you now, um, heads up, follow my rules. If they have a court order, they can take your child. That's the only reason. If the child is being slammed against the wall and there's domestic violence going on, they can't enter your home. Furthermore, there's medical trafficking happening all the time. Social workers work in the hospitals and they do try to take your child, especially bring them in for urgent care and stuff. And sometimes the doctors will report that to them. So you got to be careful there. Also, if you're going to have a child, be aware that there's social workers there, and if you test positive for drugs, they will take your child even right after birth. So be really, really, really careful there. Um, Christina Reynoso says, I'm filing a complaint against a grievance against Monterey, California. I'm in behalf of my daughter, Britt, the granddaughter of Savannah. Well, that's good, Christina. You know, we can file complaints and civil lawsuits. I'd like to do a civil lawsuit, but they say it would cost me $500,000, which I don't have. But um, it is a hard thing to work through it. And the last rule I have is you want to spend 40 to 60 hours of research about your CPS case in your area. You'll find so much wealth of information. I found over 100 tabs of information. So it is there. It's just how you word it. How you word it. It's very important to use the word CPS, the Child Protection System, and the way you word it with the city and the state and everything. All that you need to know. You need to know everything there is. Everything that there is. So I don't know if Monterey, California is where you want to file the complaint of grievance. I think it should go to Sacramento in California because it needs to go to the top branch, the judiciary branch, the Supreme Court. There is a complaint form if you look it up. As I say, the Google browser has a wealth of information. It's your power to win your case. You can learn so much by going and researching. You can go and learn so much. Now, my time is slowly ticking away here. It's almost 11 o'clock. I want to thank all of you for being great listeners, for calling in. I'm on again tonight at 7. You can call me again. I will help you. You can be a guest on my show. You can call into my show. You can also text message in my show. And I want you not to give up. Keep fighting for your kids. And I want to thank Christina Reynoso for being in my room, Arkeisha Kelly for being in my room, um, and of course, Faye Mandley, I really appreciate you from Kentucky. I know what you're going through. And then, Shawnee, I will talk to Mr. Davis about your retainer that you paid him. And I'm glad that you're in my room here, too. Uh, so she's from California, and so for San Bernardino County. And then Ami Allen was the first one. So um, God bless you all. And this is Bob Pace signing off.